You know what's really missing in UEFN right now? A proper collision detection system. Imagine this. You create this insanely cool projectile, shoot it, and crickets. It flies all fancy, but doesn't do jack.
It kind of tickles.
It's like throwing a party and nobody shows up. Total buzzkill for both the player and the environment. But when stuff touches, we gotta know it. That's where the magic happens. We need a collision detection system. I know it's coming to UEFN soon, but my inner coder is tapping his foot impatiently. Sure, I could hack together a quick if player and projectile are close enough check, but imagine 10 players each firing 5 projectiles. That's 50 projectiles total with 10 players. That's 500 checks every server tick. My CPU would basically be begging for mercy. I mean, I could brute force it, but I'm a bit OCD about clean code and I can't stand things getting sloppy. So what did I do? I rolled up my sleeves and built my own acceleration structure for collision detection. It's not perfect, but hey, it gets the job done. I started with a grid-based system, super straightforward. I've done it before, but grids are so basic. They need predefined borders, they don't adjust dynamically, and if you've got a world that's 100 by 100 tiles, boom, 1 million tiles just eating up memory like Pac-Man. I needed something better.
I'm better.
Enter the dynamic tree data structure. It's like a binary tree, but with boxes instead of numbers. And where did I first encounter this magic? Box2D. I had already ported it to Zig before just for kicks, so I thought, why not Verse? And yeah, I didn't fully understand it at the time, but guess what? It worked. Now, I've got an infinite world with no borders, combining dynamic trees with grid-based collision detection for finer control. And because I'm a sucker for naming things, I called it the broad phase. Fancy, huh? Now I can easily detect when objects touch at runtime. But I didn't stop there. When something touches, I wanted it to actually interact. For example, if a player tries to smack a wall with a shovel, invalid action. Error feedback for the player to say, maybe try digging somewhere else, buddy. But if they interact with a plot, boom, tree planting time. So how do we handle all these interactions dynamically? My first idea was to use a good old OOP design pattern. I mulled it over, but then in a moment of pure genius, or maybe laziness, I asked ChatGPT for help. And it threw me a bunch of suggestions. Component-based design, event-driven systems, and the visitor pattern. Visitor pattern? Meh, it got complicated fast. Definitely not my style. But component-based design? That got me excited. So I ran with it and might even sneak in some event-driven magic too. So I started coding my entity class, all pumped up, right? And then, boom, error, entity already exists in Verse. I'm like, wait, what? Turns out there's already a built-in scene graph in Verse. Surprise. But hold on, it's still experimental, meaning I can't use it yet. And guess what? Patience is not one of my virtues. So what's a dev to do? Follow some standards, of course. Epic Games clearly put a lot of thought into their API, so I figured, why not implement my own scene graph following their interface? Yep, you heard that right. I built my own. Well, a small part of it at least. After wrestling with Verse's parametric types, macros, and what felt like endless hours of debugging, I finally got it up and running. Victory dance. Now time to put this baby to the test. First off, it's super easy to use. I create an entity, slap on a board phase component for collision detection, toss that entity into the world entity, and add a tile tracking component for each player. This way I can keep tabs on which tile everyone's standing on. Remember that custom collision system I mentioned earlier? Oh yeah, bonus feature time. I managed to swap out the default volume device for my own custom version. Here's my secret sauce. My custom volume device uses a creative prop and a tag so I can easily query it at runtime. Everything works like a dream. It detects which tile I'm on and reacts instantly. Imagine the kind of cool games I can build with this thing now. And here's a little cherry on top. Each blue box in my system is a dynamic tree. And inside that blue box, I'm using a grid for even more fine-tuned collision detection. If I feel like it, I can split the grid even smaller to fit more details. Pretty slick, right? Oh, and you gotta check out my experiments with custom materials. But hey, let's not get sidetracked. Back to the system. It's still running flawlessly. This setup is perfect for farming or building games. The only catch, my scene graph is still missing some key global functions like finding the root entity or locating all entities with a specific component. Kinda makes the API harder to use than it should be. And I'm not gonna lie, it bugs me. I want it to be flexible and easy to use, so what's my next move? Enter the Entity Component System, or ECS as the cool kids call it. Everyone in the game dev community won't shut up about it, so I figured, why not? With my newfound verse template programming skills, I'm feeling pretty confident about implementing my very own ECS. But let me tell you, with the magic of templates, it's like wizardry gone wrong. Look at these three functions, absolute monsters. They're so long, even I'm not sure what's happening anymore. I mean, I'm basically just offering sacrifices to the compiler at this point, hoping it accepts my code. This, my friends, is what we call code smell. I'm pretty sure I over-engineered the hell out of it, so I had to pump the brakes. Luckily, while I was lost in that hot mess, I stumbled onto a much more elegant solution. The only downside? It's the slowest ECS implementation ever. But hey, performance isn't my problem right now. Let's just get this thing working first, then we'll worry about speed later. Here's how it works. I throw in a bunch of systems, like a player connection system to handle players joining and leaving the session, my beloved board phase system for accelerated collision detection, and a shiny new system for handling player hovering interactions. Oh, and let's not forget my latest creation, the reaction system. Once I've got those in place, I just initialize the world and hit the run button. Boom. Everything automatically connects and does its thing without me having to babysit the code. It's basically a self-driving car, but for game logic. Now let's check it out in action. See this chair? When I hover over it, it turns transparent with this cool white outline. Yeah, that's my new hovering reaction system at work. And check out how this group of objects is all snug together, tighter than usual. That's the beauty of my custom collision detection system doing its thing. Oh, and for the grand finale, here's a bigger version of the system, perfect for handling machines and buildings. And this little guy here, just chilling alone for testing purposes. Loneliness is a key part of debugging, folks. All right, here's more of my ECS system in action. First up, we've got the player input system. Pretty self-explanatory, right? It handles everything the players do in the game, so no more blaming your controller when things go wrong. Next, we've got the system that grabs all the creative devices at runtime and puts them in just the right spots because, a well-placed device makes all the difference. Since UEFN doesn't allow custom animations for players just yet, I had to improvise, so I came up with the idea of a personal droid that helps with planting and farm chores. This is Cyber Garden, folks, where futuristic farming meets, well, me and my little droid army. Now for the pièce de résistance, my gardening system. You'll notice the arrow in the game, it's my fancy new hovering system. I'm planning to let players customize it later, but for now, it's a stylish way to hover around your crops. This pumpkin, it's growing like a champ, so I can't plant another one in the same spot. Let's move to a new plot. Before planting though, the soil needs prepping. Thanks to my input system, I can switch my droid into digging mode and start getting the soil ready for the next pumpkin. It's all pure logic for now, no fancy visuals yet. But hey, it works. Let's keep digging while we wait for the first one to finish up. And don't worry, you can't dig in a plot that's already been prepped. My system's smart like that. Once the plot is ready, I switch my droid to planting mode and get that pumpkin seed in the ground. Then it's off to watering mode to hydrate the little guy. As for fertilizing and harvesting, that's a coming soon feature. Still working on that part. After experimenting with this brand new ECS design, I've decided I'm never going back to anything else. Seriously, combining ECS with verse concurrency feels like I'm coding on steroids. It's been a long time since I've been this excited about writing code, but here we are. This system is just so satisfying to work with. Planting only pumpkins? That's like painting everything beige. We need some variety. So the next step was figuring out how players can choose what to plant, or at least see what they've got on hand. And you know what that means? UI time. And honestly, I've been avoiding UI like it's the plague. My last island, I just slapped things on walls rather than dive into UI work. But I guess I can't dodge it forever. It's time to get serious. After scouring the web for a little UI inspiration, I came up with this design. Still a bit sketchy on the shading, but hey, it's a rough draft for what's to come. But the real nightmare? Making it actually work in verse. To speed things up, I decided to whip up the design in UEFN using widget blueprints. Once I've got everything laid out, it's a piece of cake to port it over to verse. A couple of tutorial videos later, here we are with my brand new UI. And then, plot twist, I noticed something. The UI looks great in landscape mode, but when I switch to vertical, like on a mobile device, it clips off the screen. Perfect. So I had to go back, redesign, and stack everything vertically to support both mobile and PC. Check out how it looks and feels in-game. Oh man, the sound effects are gold. I could do this all day. Cue me dragging the mouse back and forth over buttons just for that sweet, satisfying click sound. Then I jumped into Inkscape, added more buttons, and polished the layout. Now I've got categories lined up, a panel on the right for droid equipment, and an item description box at the bottom. But then I had to do the unthinkable. I actually went outside. Yep, touched some grass, cleared my head, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Fortnite is always played in landscape mode, never vertical. So all that redesigning, totally unnecessary. Lesson learned. But hey, it wasn't a total waste. I picked up some handy UI tricks like how to quickly stack elements horizontally and vertically. So yeah, here's to happy accidents and maybe planting more than just pumpkins. Another raid boss down. On to the next challenger, creating some fresh new plants. So I fired up Blender and decided to stick with vertex colors for the game. There's this great extension called Vertex Color Mastery that speeds up the workflow. But here's the catch. It's like a whole dance just to tweak one color channel. First, you've got to select the color channel, then hit Isolate Channel, then change the value, then hit Apply. That's a whole lot of steps and way too many chances to mess up. I just wanted a big red button that would adjust the red channel in one click. Simple, right? So naturally, I decided to code my very first Blender extension. My plan? Dive into Vertex Color Mastery's code to see what info I needed. But wow, talk about a crash course in Blender scripting. I had no idea what half of it meant, so I called in the big guns, ChatGPT. First, I asked, how do I change the vertex color of one channel in Blender using Python? And bam, the code worked on the first shot. Then, how do I make a custom menu for a Blender add-on? Another one-shot wonder. After a few more prompts and some code tweaking, I bundled it all together and tossed it up on GitHub. So here's how it works. In edit mode, I just select a few edges or vertices, set a value, let's say 0.5, and hit the AO button. Boom. The red channel is set to 0.5 automatically. The edge button handles green, metallic is for blue, and roughness for alpha. With this extension in my corner, I was ready to start cranking out plants. A little more head scratching over the modeling, and here's the final result. Not bad, right? Pretty cute, if I say so myself. For you, it's been 1 second. For me, a few days of code, sweat, and snacks. I've added some landscapes and whipped up a few new systems. Check out these blue boxes here and here. Totally empty, right? But can you guess what happens when I hit the play button? All the fences dynamically spawn at runtime, and they come in different color variants too. That's the magic of my custom static prop spawning system. All right, let's dig into this gardening system. Here's a fresh plot, also dynamically spawned at runtime. Let's plant some carrots. And why not throw in a cabbage for good measure? See the left side of the screen? It's printing the current stage of each plant, which means the basic logic of my gardening system is good to go. Just need to swap out those boring words for something a bit more visual. Oh, almost forgot. The watering system. When you water a plot, it turns a darker color, so players can easily see which plots are watered and which still need a drink. Let's finish up this garden and see how it looks. Note, because of the speedy growth, all these plants are sprouting up like it's rush hour, which makes things sound pretty hectic. In the actual game, growth will be slower, so don't worry about the noise. I'll also mix up the sound effects to keep things from getting too repetitive. And yeah, the graphics are a bit rough, like cardboard cutouts. I'll fix that up too, so things look a little less Saturday morning cartoon and a bit more farm life magic. So after hours of losing brain cells trying to figure out why my props suddenly turned into cardboard cutouts, turns out it was Unreal's automatic Elad category. Yeah, the game engine decided, you know what? Let's make this 3D masterpiece a 2D sticker today. Thanks, Unreal. Very cool. Anyway, I changed it to small props and boom, problem solved. Suddenly everything stopped looking like it belonged in a 2001 Flash game. But that's not all. I also added a fancy new loot drop system, and oh boy, the loot has personality. It doesn't just drop, it jumps. Like, aggressively. It's literally bouncing like, please pick me up, daddy. I swear my loot has abandonment issues. Then I built the pickup system, added some sound effects, wanted it to sound satisfying, like those buttery inventory clicks from AAA games, right? Except what I made sounded like a machine gun. Like, I pick up one coin and my speakers go brrr. It was chaos. My ears filed for divorce. So yeah, definitely need to invest more time in sound design, but for now, it's fine. You know, the classic game dev phrase for I'll never fix this. So, what's next? Well, actually, nothing. The sad truth is I got demotivated again. Didn't touch the project for 4 months. Gone. Vanished. Ghosted my own game. But then, on April 1st, 2025, the most cursed day to make any serious life decision, I came back. And this time, something new sparked. Something that got me way too excited again. I might have gone a bit too far this time. Last time, I was just making loot jump around like it was begging for attention, and now I'm generating entire cities, hundreds of buildings, and that's it. No roads, no parks, just pure, unfiltered urban anxiety. It's like someone told ChatGPT to build New York, but forgot to mention roads. So how did this all start? Well, it began innocent enough, just one tiny building. It looked so proud. Then I made another, and then I blinked, and suddenly there were hundreds of them, all multiplying like bacteria after a Red Bull. But here's the thing. I knew it was going to lag. I could feel it. So before Unreal had the chance to melt my GPU, I built a new job system. Basically a traffic controller for chaos. It makes sure all the buildings spawn in tiny chunks instead of all at once, so the game doesn't start doing interpretive dance at 5 FPS. And here it is, the top-down view of my Frankenstein masterpiece, fully procedural. Can generate or destroy itself at runtime. Basically SimCity, if SimCity was coded by one guy slowly losing his mind. And this right here, 40 Git commits from March 3rd to August 6th. 3 whole months of me fighting Unreal Engine, math, and my own bad decisions. Each commit is like a diary entry of pain. Fixed wall pattern, added city layout, park, kind of works. So yeah, that's my park. Just grass, tiles, and fences. Basically a glorified backyard. But hey, baby steps, right? Then I moved on to something that actually made me feel like a real game dev, wall patterns. Before this, my buildings looked like they were designed by a toddler with a random number generator. Every wall was chaos, windows stacked on windows, no rhythm, no logic, like a fever dream in concrete form. So I made a system that actually builds walls in a pleasing pattern. Wall, window, like how real buildings look. And oh man, it was beautiful. For once, the randomness actually looked intentional. It gave every structure this nice little rhythm, like the city was finally taking piano lessons. Now, the buildings actually have personality. They don't scream procedural disaster anymore. They politely whisper, hey, I might pass an architecture class. And seeing the whole thing come together, dozens of buildings each following this neat little rule, it was oddly satisfying. Like watching code finally behave for once in its life. But of course, the moment I started feeling proud, my brain reminded me, oh hey, you still need to make roofs, interiors, exteriors, and different architecture styles, right? Because apparently, I hate myself. Old buildings, modern buildings, European, Asian, I basically promised to recreate planet Earth by myself. And that's when my motivation just disconnected from the server. 2 months of pure creative timeout. Didn't code, didn't open the project, didn't even look at a building. Every time I thought about it, I could hear Unreal whisper, come on, just one more compile. But then something changed. A new spark, a new idea, and maybe, just maybe, this time it's not going to break me. Because what came next was something entirely different. Next time, we leave the city behind and build something even crazier. You know, after spending months doing nothing, I finally decided it was time to fix the real problem, my laziness. So I made a soap to wash it off. Yeah, this baby right here, 100% pure motivation extract, guaranteed to remove 99.9% of procrastination. Side effects may include absolutely nothing changing. Okay, I'm kidding, obviously. If soap could fix laziness, I'd be unstoppable by now. Anyway, after pretending I was in a soap commercial for way too long, I finally did something actually productive. That's when I discovered something amazing. It's finally out of alpha, which means it's stable enough to break everything I love in new and exciting ways. But I didn't care. I was excited. Like actually excited. So I jumped in and my brain said, you know what we need? Something big, something complex, something that'll definitely ruin our sleep schedule. So naturally, I decided to make an RPG quest system. And when I say I coded like crazy, I mean I was possessed. Like I blinked once and suddenly I had a dialogue system, a player stat system, and my proudest creation ever, the quest system. This baby is reusable, composable, and so easy to write, it's like scripting quests with cheat codes. Let me show you. Here's a simple quest I made. First task, find all the weapons. Then find the legendary weapon. Next, prepare for battle. And finally, Kill the dragon. Simple, right? Elegant, efficient, totally professional. Beat. Okay, fine. It's basically fetch things and bonk a lizard. Every part connects perfectly. No hard coding, no chaos, just pure reusable quest logic that actually works. Life's kind of funny. This video started as a simple devlog for my gardening game. You know, plant a few trees, grow some crops, maybe relax a bit, and somehow by the end of it, I'm building a procedural city, coding a quest system, and making soap. Yeah, that escalated fast. I guess that's just how it goes sometimes. You start with something small, an idea, a seed, and before you know it, you've accidentally grown a whole jungle of bugs, features. Making games is hard, like really hard. It's easy to get demotivated when you're trying to do everything yourself. Coding, level design, art, VFX, story, animation. It's like being a one-person studio and your own unpaid intern. And sometimes your dream is so big, it doesn't just overwhelm you, it consumes you. But here's the thing I've learned. You don't have to build everything all at once. You don't need to finish the whole garden in one day. Just follow the flow. Build something small, something you enjoy. Make it self-contained, a little system that does one thing really well, then make another one and another. And before you even realize it, you'll start connecting them together. Those tiny pieces you made for fun, they'll fit like puzzle parts, and suddenly you've built something big. It's kind of like gardening, actually. You don't grow a forest by forcing it. You grow it one seed at a time. And sometimes it's okay to just water what you already have. Anyway, that's what I'm trying to remind myself too. So, yeah, this is where the story for now ends. But don't go anywhere, because in my next project, I'm about to plant something completely new. And hopefully, this time it won't turn into another soap factory. See you in the next project.